The studio lights of The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson glowed softly, but that night felt different. There was a quiet tension in the air, something even the audience could sense. Johnny Carson stood at his desk, shuffling his cue cards more slowly than usual. He glanced toward the curtain, then back at the crowd, offering a gentle smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Tonight," he said, his voice softer than normal, "we have a very special guest, a man who has meant a great deal to all of us." The audience erupted as the band played, but when John Wayne stepped through the curtain, the applause turned into something deeper: respect, admiration, and concern. He looked older than people remembered. The strong, towering cowboy was still there, but quieter now, slower. His walk carried the weight of years and something more, something unspoken. Johnny met him halfway, shaking his hand with both of his. For a moment, neither man said anything. They just looked at each other, two legends, sharing a silent understanding. As they sat, Johnny tried to keep things light. "So, Duke," he said with a grin, using Wayne's famous nickname, "you still riding horses, or have you switched to Cadillacs?" The audience chuckled. Wayne smiled faintly. "Johnny, these days, I'm just happy if I can ride through the day." The laughter softened. Something in his voice lingered. The conversation went on: stories from old films, memories from Hollywood's golden days. But every now and then, Wayne would pause. His words came slower, like he was choosing them carefully, or maybe saving his strength. Then Johnny leaned forward, his tone shifting. "You've given people so many heroes," he said. "Strong men, brave men. What does strength mean to you now?" The studio fell completely silent. Wayne looked down at his hands for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was quieter than anyone had ever heard it. "Strength," he repeated. "It's not about standing tall all the time." He took a breath. "It's about knowing when you're not, and still facing the world anyway." You could hear someone in the audience sniffle. Johnny nodded slowly, his usual wit replaced by something deeper. "That's a hard kind of courage." Wayne gave a small smile. "Harder than any gunfight I ever had on screen." The crowd laughed gently, but many were wiping their eyes. As the segment neared its end, Johnny did something unusual. He didn't look at the camera. He didn't crack a joke. Instead, he turned fully toward Wayne. "I think I can speak for everyone here," he said, his voice steady but thick with emotion, "when I say thank you, not just for the films but for the man." The audience rose to their feet. A standing ovation filled the studio, not loud and wild but powerful, honest. Wayne looked out at them, his eyes glistening under the lights. For a moment the tough cowboy facade slipped, and what remained was simply a man, grateful, humbled, and quietly saying goodbye in his own way. Johnny placed a hand on his shoulder. "No jokes, no music. Just respect." As the lights dimmed and the applause slowly faded, it felt less like the end of a show, and more like the closing of a legend.